Good afternoon and welcome to the Beaufort County Board of Education agenda setting meeting of November 22, 2021. This meeting is being conducted via video conferencing and is also being live streamed by the county channel. I don't think Mel Campbell has joined us yet, David, so do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move that we approve the agenda.
Okay, I'll second it. Any discussion?
No.
There being no hands up, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the agenda is approved. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. All right, David, a motion to approve the committee meeting minutes of November 8, 2021.
I move that we approve the committee meeting minutes of November 8th, 2021.
I'll second it. Any discussion? Okay, there being no hands up, all in favor? Aye. All right, the minutes are approved.
Give me a second to catch up.
I know.
That's not there, so, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Next up, we have two agendas to set this evening. The first is our annual joint board and SIC meeting that is on December 2nd, 2021. And that's going to be a virtual meeting starting at 6 and an hour and a half. So Robin, you and I spoke earlier today, and did you hear back from Kristen about what the SICs were interested in?
She was still gathering it, so she gave them until the end of the day. So I have not heard yet of what their topics were.
Okay.
Do you want, you reach out to Kristen, see if she has anything yet?
So David, do you have any suggestions?
Do you want me to put the one on there that you had, Tina?
Yeah, a suggestion I had was, since we're gonna likely be getting volunteers back in our schools come the beginning of January or in January, I just think that they would, let's seek their input on how our volunteers can best be utilized. All right, so the other board members that are attending the meeting, or Dr. Rodriguez or Wendy, I think that includes everybody. Any suggestions? Okay, the iPhone, I'm not sure who that is.
I just asked them to identify themselves.
Okay.
I was trying to identify myself, but I didn't mean to raise my hand.
Okay, so that's William. All right, well, let's go on to the next one then. David, do you agree on to the next agenda setting? It seems like, we've sought their input, yet we haven't received it.
I agree, and in my mind, it's their meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Their agenda, so.
Okay.
Yeah, let's move on.
Okay. I see Earl Campbell's joined us and William Smith, but not Mel at this point. All right, so we'll go on to the December 14th business meeting agenda.
Give me a second.
I know.
I do have a question in reference to the SIC meeting. You were saying that everyone will not join the SIC meeting. Is that what you're saying?
No, I didn't say anything like that. I'm not sure what you are referencing.
At the SIC meeting, I thought you were saying that now, okay, maybe I came at till I was trying, you were saying that SIC meeting, everyone was enjoying, was joining that meeting, correct?
And who's everyone?
All board members.
Well, we're waiting to, what we discussed, we didn't talk anything about board meetings joining the SIC meeting, because that's not until next week. What we discussed was that I talked to Robin earlier today, asking she had told me that Kristen Casper had reached out to the SICs, the different SICs, to see what they were interested in having the meeting about, but we haven't had that information come back to us yet. It's their meeting. That's what we discussed.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. All right, so now we're on the business meeting of December 14th. So this one will be over at the Media Center at 2900 Mink Point Boulevard. And we have our usual disclaimer at the beginning, including the agenda. Don't complete the agenda. It will roll over to the following business day at 6 p.m. All right. Yes, go
Since
ahead.
it's a limited, we don't have to start at 4:30. We can start at 5, it looks like. That's up to you all. I just hadn't changed the time.
Okay, so I was going to ask before you start changing the time. Okay, we have the personnel ratification report and a personnel matter. All right, the adult education homeschool report and the Erie third-year contract review. Another, I was hoping that we'd get an update from our board attorneys, that's Halligan, Mahoney, and Williams group, on where they stand with the fiscal authority. Wendy, perhaps you can speak to that.
I need to double check on the date with the county attorneys of when they're going to be discussing that matter in a meeting. It's in the beginning of December.
Okay,
So it may be that we'll have to meet that first. We may have to get an update that first meeting in January.
okay.
I need to double check that date, Dr. West.
Thank you. Another thing I was thinking of, David and everybody that's on the call, is, we have a lobbyist, Lynn Stokes Murray. I know, the legislators will be back in session in January, so that it's unlikely. We don't normally get an update at this time of the year, correct, Robin, from them?
Correct.
But I do think that perhaps I should reach out to Lynn. It would be after the attorneys report back on where they are with the fiscal authority work, because that's another way we could attack it or approach it is through our lobbyist, because she has, the access and connections with the Beaufort County delegation. All right.
Dr. Quantz, if we do put that on, would that be executive session, or would that be out in the public session?
With Mahoney and Halligan Williams?
Yeah, if they're giving us an update on where we are on that.
I think it would be under executive session because it's legal advice.
Okay.
Correct, Wendy?
Yes, that's correct, Dr. West.
Okay, so I guess we'll wait and see. Wendy will inquire when that meeting's taking place and whether or not it will give them adequate time to formulate their thinking or whatever for our meeting in mid-December, or we'll wait till the first meeting in January. Okay. Anything else under executive session anybody has in mind? All right, there being no hands up. So I do think, Robin, then why don't you put the time at 5, and then if we're going to have the fiscal authority legal advice, we'll switch it.
Okay.
Dr. Rodriguez, do you think that's an adequate time to also do the hearing through third year contract review?
It should be. Yeah, it should be.
All righty. So we have our usual approval agenda, pledge of allegiance, etc. Points of celebration.
There might be a student performance.
Okay.
Haven't heard, Kristen's supposed to get back with me.
All right. So you also need to add to this, if there's any action is necessary or appropriate coming out of executive session. I see that's not on there.
Okay,
Yeah, you don't have to do that now, but you can,
okay.
all right. So we'll see about the points of celebration, then first public comments. Chairman's report, I'm not sure what, I will probably report on the legislative, the SCSBA legislative conference and delegate assembly, because that takes place about 10 days before this meeting. Yeah, how about, let's call it this, legislative conference and delegate assembly. That's what they call it, so we'll call it what they call it. And
Delegate.
ATE. Assembly, and then you can put update there if you'd like.
Looks good.
All right. And I'll see if something else comes up before then also that I'll want to add. So then we're on to, just raise your hand if you want to me to call on you. Next up, we have the committee reports. And we got academics, ad hoc Bluffton, finance and operations.
And technology,
And technology, sorry, that's page 2.
next page.
Sorry, David. All right, so we'll have, I assume, some OEs maybe coming out of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought of another thing that can go under the chair report, and that is an update on our how it's going to be our work session with on coherent governance, right? Because that will have taken place also by then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So do we have to go through anything with the individual committees or no? At this point?
No, other than they'll be meeting.
Yeah, okay. And then we'll see what comes out of there.
Mhm.
So then we're on to the superintendent's report. And so Dr. Rodriguez, if you wanna, you're on so you can
Yep.
see the agenda. Okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so on the superintendent's report, under student achievement, we've talked about continuous improvement model. And so this particular section is going to be zeroing in on our work around professional learning communities that we've been doing. So continuous improvement really as it relates to professional learning communities. And then I talked to Tanya, and the items under fiscal responsibility on there
Mhm.
are they're coming in the January meeting.
Okay.
And then under other matters, we have the COVID report.
And so which
And that ESER,
then
that
in
ESER
January?
update will come with other reports.
Or you mean with the other fiscal reports, or will come under other matters?
Well, it will come under, we usually do it on the second meeting of the month.
Right.
So in talking with Tanya, we're gonna do those reports and we'll do the ESER update in January.
Okay, alrighty. So we're gonna have the COVID, right?
Yes.
So did you hear that, Robin? Yeah. All right. Anything else, Dr. Rodriguez?
No, that's it on the superintendent's report.
Okay. All right. So next we have under board business, we have two items. The presentation by Hope Pendergrass of the FY21 annual financial audit. So she's, I assume, with Malden and Jenkins. Correct?
I
Yes,
think so.
I believe so.
Okay. I think I would put Malden and Jenkins there. What if she's sick, right? And then we can introduce her. David,
What is our action on that? Do we accept it or?
You have to, yeah, Tanya brings it every year for the board to approve it.
Oh, we approve it, okay.
Yeah.
So-
After they make the presentation and then there's you approve it.
Okay, so it's a approval of,
Gotcha.
as
Yeah.
opposed to presentation.
good point. Excellent. So why don't you say approval? Yeah, exactly, Robin. Approval of annual financial audit as presented by. Looks good. So then the next item is the approval of the 2022 board meeting calendar. And I think this would be real important for us to have ahead of time a draft document,
Yes,
not just Thursday night before the meeting. Could you send that out if you already have that ready?
I don't, but Tanya and I will be working on it this week, so in early part of next week, so.
Okay, so
Part of that is getting in the budget schedule and that's.
yeah, exactly.
So we're getting that together as what the county and so forth. So that's part of the calendar.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would be very helpful because, as you know, it would be nice to try to avoid these, that we end up having to change dates several times this year that the board had to approve.
Right. Well, that's also, I have to get graduation date. It's a
Exactly.
whole lot, it's a whole lot of dates to have to get in.
I agree. Thank you for working on it. All right, no hands are up. So the next thing is our consent agenda, and we'll have 3 meetings there. November 2, 15, and 17, the minutes for those. So I think you need on the third one, Robin, the special called executive session meeting minutes. So yeah, I guess it's just, yeah, it just tells us what the motion was that we came out of executive session with. Yeah. Okay. And then we have the first quarter financial report and financial administration OE 6.1-8. Alrighty. And then there may be other committee meeting OEs. Mr. Earl Campbell.
I was just gonna ask about the SIC. That's in December, the what, the 1st or the 2nd? I mean,
We had it up there.
December 2nd.
It's Thursday at 6 PM and it's gonna be virtual.
okay, all right.
And we were going to set the agenda today, but Earl, we have not, it's the meeting for the SICs and they have not told us what they'd like to talk about yet. So hopefully we'll get that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Because I think we've pretty much finished the agenda.
You want to do the future topics to see if we want to pull anything off?
Sure.
This should come off. We already did that.
Yeah.
Um,
And the process for vetting volunteers. Some of these sound like better work session topics rather than a business meeting to me.
I didn't know what the social media, we talked about that. I don't know if that's doing a policy for social media vetting or. David's hand.
Yeah, David?
Yeah, I read Ingrid's email on this, and I think we have an administrative regulation on it, so I'm not sure we need a policy.
Okay. You want me to take that off?
Well,
Since
no,
we already have an AR?
I think it should be in a work session. And
Okay.
if we want to, because I'm really opposed to spending a lot of time reviewing administrative regulations in board meetings. I'd rather do that in work sessions if people have a discussion about it.
Yeah.
And it would need to be updated.
The process for vetting volunteers, should put that for a work session too.
Yeah, to me, that seems much better for a work session than a regular business meeting. Now, briefing on media centers, I've forgotten who that brought that forward. David, do you remember?
Dick did, that was Dick Ayers.
Okay,
And we got
wanted
a briefing in the technology committee. So I'm not sure how much more there is to say. I mean, I can mention it in the update from the technology committee.
that sounds perfect.
Yeah,
That could be part of the report.
yeah, and that'll keep it short.
Perfect, thank you. All right, the next one was Mr. Smith's. Can he elaborate, please? Discussion on evaluation book that was distributed to board members from Dr. Rodriguez. What are we discussing?
Exactly what you just said is what we'll be discussing in the book.
Yeah, but that was for his, okay, this is me answering as the chair. That book was provided to the board members for his professional annual review. So we would not be discussing that in public.
Once again, I'm requesting that we discuss that. We discussed it in public before on last year. If my memory serves me correct. So I'm asking for us to discuss it, and that's what I'm asking for. I have no other comments.
Okay, thank you, David.
Yeah, we can't discuss that in public. So I'm not sure if there's something more specific. You know, one of the things I'm trying to do to get us have our agendas more efficient is to be really as specific as we can be on these topics. So if it's a discussion on the process of evaluating Dr. Rodriguez, that's a whole different topic than discussing the book, because we're not going to discuss the book. So I don't know what to do with this, unless Will, if you want to be more specific, maybe we can get it out there, in a public session, but the way it stands, it doesn't look appropriate to be in a public session. So maybe you can clarify for me anyhow.
In terms of, I've already asked to have the process of this and all that just discuss publicly. I don't. Us discussing it now is just too much. I think that it should be discussed, and if it's warranted at the time that this is not the correct place, then I think that would be time that this to be moved. But I think us discussing it right now it's not the correct thing to do. Thank you.
David.
I disagree.
Yeah, so David, you and I we do not have Mel with us, so you or I agree. You and I are on the same page that it's not an appropriate public discussion, so it will not be added to the agenda for this meeting. Right choices, what's that about?
I think that was Angela's.
Oh, good. Angela's right here with us.
Yes,
Go
it
ahead.
sure was. I would like to hear from the director and assistant director about right choices and their processes. Because I had an interesting conversation with one of the teachers over there, just by happenstance. And he said there are 3 teachers over there and there are 30 kids there. And all 3 teachers are not certified in all of the areas for all of the students. So that's a concern, especially those students that are there and are in high school. They have for credit courses. So we need to know what Right Choices needs. If they need more staff, what can we do? What can we do to make sure that all the needs of the students there are met?
So, David?
Yeah, I would suggest that would be a good work session topic.
Great.
And then, because it has budget implications too, so
Yeah.
that we want to work through. And I agree with you. I would like to talk that through and see what we need to do to get that up to optimum performance.
Yes, because in our previous meeting, there was some concern, if you all recall, in our last meeting. So
Yeah.
we just need to make sure, we just need to know, we need to hear from the director and assistant director. And I know the director, this is his first year, but the assistant director has been there for 3 years now. So she knows how things are working there and what's working and what's not working.
Mr. William, thank you, Angela. Mr. William Smith?
You're very welcome.
I think that the initial understanding the process, I think that could be taking place at the regular scheduled meeting, and anything beyond that can be taking place at the work session. If we think to go into things, but I think understanding the process of it, I think the community would like to know that too. I think that would be a great place for that. I don't think that it has to necessarily be that part of it has to be at a work session. We're going into details and talking about the budget and all that stuff that could take place at the work session. But I think the actual initial understanding it in a presentation it should not be a problem for that to come up even under the superintendent's report and update on right choices, because we hadn't had one of those in a while. So I think that could be taking place at the business meeting.
Okay, thank you, William. Angela?
I do agree that it does need to we need a presentation and update about right choices at one of our regular board meetings, but I think it should be done after the work session, because then we would have more information about what's going on and some clarification, and then we can provide more information to the public on how we're going to move forward in assisting them.
Thank you, Angela.
You're welcome.
Mr. Smith's hand's back up.
Okay, Mr. Smith?
So I'm asking, so what is going to be the decision on the right choices?
So neither Mr. Strivenger nor I have made a motion to add it to this agenda, and the person bringing it forward, I personally think that that's a smart way to do it, is first have a discussion about it And then we get the overview for the public so we can give a better, just as Angela Middleton just said, give a better response of do we need to recommend changes or whatever you, I guess, changes with this, our superintendent. And Mr. Stribbender, do you have anything to add?
No, I agree. I agree completely. If we're going to do an overview, it usually is kind of a deep dive. So it's going to take a while and we want to do it right. And that's a work session. So I agree.
All right. All right. So the next thing we need to decide is our next
meeting. Our next
So-
meeting.
Yes, please.
Well, it's gonna be kind of difficult because do you want to meet
So our first.
the 20, we can meet the 20th or the 21st for the January 4th meeting.
So Monday or Tuesday of the Christmas week. Well, Christmas is on Saturday. Yeah,
Right,
either,
our last work day is the 21st.
okay. So either of those are fine with me. It seems like for you, Robin, that since the 21st is your last day, that
The
it might be better
20th?
to do the 20th, unless that's a problem for David. Do you have input, David?
No, so I can do it whenever it's best for everybody else.
4 o'clock?
Yeah, it
Or-
seems like that's what we're kind of settled upon. 4 o'clock via Zoom on December 20th, which is a Monday.
Yep,
And the meeting is January 4th on a Tuesday.
correct.
Okay. All right. So can you just reach out to Mel tomorrow morning and just verify that he can do it then? Because we still have the option. Thank you.
Yes.
All right. Do we have any further business to discuss? Is there? All right, David?
Yeah, I just thought of one thing while Will is still on.
Will's
there
gone.
Will's gone? Because I
Yes.
thought there was an ACE meeting. Is
They
Earl
just had
still-
that last week.
So we would get an update on that also in the committee updates.
Okay.
Yeah, good point.
So I'll put that on the agenda committee. Okay.
It seems like they only meet like twice a year or something. But yeah, we should have an update. I'm sure the constituents would like to hear.
Yeah, because they had elections of officers.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I think that was the last update we had was the election of officers for this year.
All righty.
All right.
Okay, it seems like we've covered our business for tonight's meeting, so.
I'll
David and
send out, if I hear from Kristen, I will send the agenda to you all tomorrow to see, for you all, for the SIC.
Okay, that sounds
This
good.
is what they have, this is what they would like.
All right, thank you, Robin. So, David and I think in unanimous consent to adjourn, is that correct?
I agree.
Okay.
And we have
Everyone
Ad
who
hoc
attended.
Bluffton at 5 o'clock.